When was the last time you felt truly free, not pretending to be okay, not forcing a smile, not laughing just to cover up what you're really feeling inside, but actually feeling present, actually feeling like everything was going to be all right, if you're being honest with yourself? It's probably been a while, and you're not alone in that. Most of us walk around carrying this invisible weight on our shoulders, this constant buzzing in the back of our minds that never really goes okay. And here's what's really heartbreaking about all of this. We keep telling ourselves that one day it will get better. We keep saying things like, I'll be happy when I get that promotion. I'll relax when I have enough money saved up. I'll feel at peace when everything finally falls into place. But let me ask you something. Has everything ever fallen into place? Has there ever been a single moment in your life where every single thing was exactly how you wanted it to be? Probably not, Mike. But because but that's nothing but what if I told you that you don't have to wait anymore? What if the peace you've been searching for your entire life isn't somewhere out there in the future, but right here, right now, in this very moment? What if the only thing standing between you and real freedom is the way you've been thinking about your own life? Buddhism has been teaching this for thousands of years, and the beauty of these teachings is that they're not complicated. They're not reserved for monks living on mountaintops. They're for regular people like you and me, people who are tired of feeling anxious, people who are exhausted from trying to control everything, people who just want to take a deep breath and actually feel it. So if you're someone who's been living inside your own head, if you've been carrying worries that feel too heavy, if you're ready to stop just surviving and start actually living, then stay with me, because what I'm about to share with you might be exactly what your heart has been waiting to hear. Let's start with something that sounds almost too simple to be powerful. The present moment is the only safe place you will ever have. Think about that for a second. The only place where life is actually happening is right now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, not 5 minutes from now, right now. But where does your mind spend most of its time? It's either stuck in the past, replaying old conversations, old regrets, or it's racing ahead into the future, imagining problems that haven't happened yet. Build me aid. World Merch and the crazy thing is, your body doesn't know the difference between a real threat and an imagined one. When you sit there thinking about something terrible that might happen next week, your heart starts racing, your muscles tighten, your stomach churns, your body is reacting as if the danger is real, even though you're sitting perfectly safe in your own room. Nothing is actually happening to you, but your mind has created a movie so vivid, so convincing, that your entire body has gone into survival mode. That's the power of thought, and that's also the trap of thought, because while you're busy worrying about something that exists only in your imagination, you're missing the one thing that is real this moment right here. The air filling your lungs, the ground beneath your feet, the sounds around you, the simple miracle of being alive. When you bring your attention back to what is actually happening right now, something incredible starts to shift. Your breathing slows down. Your shoulders drop, your chest opens up, your thoughts begin to quiet, and you realize something profound. There is nothing wrong right now in this exact moment. You are okay, you are breathing, you are here, and that is enough. Worry cannot survive in the present moment. It needs the future to feed on. It needs uncertainty and imagination to grow. But when you are fully grounded in the now, when you are truly paying attention to what is real, there is no room for fear about what hasn't happened. Yet, your mind might still try to pull you back. It might whisper, "But what about tomorrow?" And you can gently respond, "I don't need to solve tomorrow. Right now, I was my to writing out everything short of it." The more you practice this, the easier it becomes. Returning to the present moment becomes like coming home. It becomes your anchor, your refuge, the one place where peace is always waiting for you. And slowly you start to realize that you were never meant to live in fear of the future. You were always meant to live in the freedom of now. Now let's talk about something that most people get wrong. And it's one of the biggest reasons we suffer more than we need. To acceptance. Most people hear that word and immediately think it means giving up. They think acceptance means you stop trying, that you just lie down and let life walk all over you. But that's not what acceptance means at all, especially not in Buddhism. Acceptance doesn't mean you like what's happening. It doesn't mean you don't care. It simply means you stop pretending that reality is different from what it is. You stop pouring all your energy into wishing things were some other way, when in this moment they are not. Because here's what happens when you resist reality. You create war inside yourself. Something difficult happens. Maybe you lose someone. Maybe a relationship ends. Maybe you get rejected, or things don't go according to kind. And instead of a lack back it, and all that resistance, all that fighting, it doesn't change the situation one bit. The only thing it changes is your peace of mind. It takes it away piece by piece until you're exhausted and drained and still stuck in the same place you started. Acceptance is the moment you stop arguing with what is it's. The moment you say, okay, this happened. I don't like it, but it happened. And now I'm going to work with what I have, instead of wasting my energy wishing for what I don't have. And when you do that, when you truly let go of the need to control every outcome, something opens up inside you. A space appears. A space where you can breathe again, where you can think clearly, where you can actually begin to. Acceptance doesn't mean you stop growing or improving. It means you stop requiring life to match your expectations in order for you to be at peace. It means you start trusting the process, even when the process doesn't make sense. Yet, it means you walk with life instead of fighting against it. And that shift from resistance to acceptance is one of the most powerful things a human being can experience. Here's another truth that can completely change the way you experience your inner world. Not every thought you have deserves your attention, let alone your belief. The human mind produces thousands of thoughts every single day. Some of them are useful, most of them are repetitive, and a whole lot of them are based in fear, doubt, and insecurity. But here's what most people don't realize. Just because a thought shows up in your mind doesn't make it true. Worry begins with a single thought. What if something bad happens? And before you know it, you're spiraling. You're imagining the worst. You're feeling anxious and afraid. Not because anything real is happening, but because your mind created a story and you believed it completely. That's how powerful thoughts are. They can steal your peace in seconds if you let them. But Buddhism teaches us something life-changing. You are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are like clouds passing through the sky. Some are light and beautiful, some are dark and heavy. But none of them are permanent, and none of them define the sky. Your awareness, the part of you that watches the thoughts, is much deeper and calmer than any thought that passes through. When you start observing your thoughts instead of getting swept away by them, everything changes. You begin to notice a fearful thought arise, and instead of immediately reacting, you pause, you breathe, and you say to yourself, this is just a thought. It's not a fact. I don't have to believe it. And in that simple pause, you break the chain. You stop the spiral before it pulls you under. This is mindfulness, and it's not about emptying your mind or never having negative thoughts again. That's impossible, and honestly, it's not even the goal. The goal is to change your relationship with your thoughts, to stop being controlled by every fear, every doubt, every worst-case scenario that your mind throws at you, and instead to become the calm observer who watches thoughts come and go without getting lost in them. The more you practice this, the lighter you feel. The thoughts still come, but they don't carry the same weight anymore. They don't have the same power over you, because you've learned the most important lesson of all. You don't have to believe everything you think. Now let's talk about something that brings so much comfort once you truly understand it. Impermanence. Everything changes, everything passes. Nothing in this life stays the same. Forever, not the good times and not the bad times, not your happiest moments and not your darkest ones. Everything is temporary. And yet when fear or anxiety takes hold, it feels permanent, doesn't it? It feels like it will never end. Like you'll always feel this way, like this heaviness will follow you forever. But that's just another lie your mind tells you, because if you look back at your own life, you'll see proof everywhere. Proof that even the most painful experiences eventually passed. You survived heartbreak, you survived uncertainty. And here, you are still standing, still breathing, still going. That alone should give you hope, because it proves that no emotion, no matter how overwhelming, lasts forever. Even the deepest grief has a lifespan. Even the most intense fear eventually fades, and once you start seeing your emotions this way, you stop being so afraid of them. You stop saying, "I am anxious," and start saying, "I am experiencing anxiety right now, and it will pass." This understanding changes everything, because when you know that difficult feelings are temporary, you don't need to panic when they show up. You can sit with them, you can breathe through them, you can let them move through you, like a wave rising, peaking, and gently falling away. You trust the process, because you know with complete certainty that you are not stuck. You are simply in a temporary moment, and that moment, like every moment before it, is already passing. So the next time worry shows up and your chest tightens and your mind starts spinning, take a step back, place your hand over your heart and remind yourself this is only a moment, it will not last. I have survived every difficult moment before this one, and I will move through this one too. That simple reminder, spoken gently to yourself, can bring a peace so deep that no storm can shake it. And that brings us to something that causes more suffering than almost anything else, the need to control everything. We all do it. We try to control outcomes. We try to control other people's opinions of us. We try to control the future, as if worrying hard enough could somehow prevent bad things from happening. But it can't, and the harder you try to grip everything, the more exhausted and anxious you become. Buddhism teaches us to act with intention, to show up fully, to give our best in every situation, but then to release the outcome. You do what you can, and you let go of the rest, not because you don't care, but because you understand that some things are simply not yours to control, and fighting against that reality only creates more suffering. Think about how many nights you've laid awake trying to solve problems that haven't even happened yet. Think about how much energy you spent replaying conversations you can't change, worrying about decisions you can't undo, stressing over things that are completely out of your hands, and after all that worry, nothing changed except your peace of mind was gone. Letting go of control doesn't mean you become passive. It means you become wise. It means you learn to hold life with open hands instead of clenched fists. It means you trust that you don't need to have every answer right now. You just need to keep showing up with presence and care and let the rest unfold in its own time. Because life has its own wisdom, and when you stop trying to force your way through it, you start to flow with it, and that flow is where real freedom lives. Now here's something most people never think to do, but it might be the most important thing of all: learning to speak gently to yourself. We all have an inner voice that worries, that doubts, that criticizes, and for most of us that voice is loud and unkind. It says things like, "You're not good enough, you can't handle this, everything is going to fall apart," and we believe it because it's our own voice. How could it be wrong? But that voice isn't speaking truth. It's speaking from fear, and it's not trying to hurt you. It's actually trying to protect you in its own misguided way. It thinks that by preparing you for the worst, it's keeping you safe, but all it's really doing is keeping you afraid. Buddhism teaches us to meet that voice with compassion. Instead of fighting it, instead of trying to shut it up, you simply acknowledge it the way you would comfort a frightened child. You say, "I hear you. I know you're scared, but we're okay right now. We don't need to panic. We're just going to breathe and take one step at a time." When you respond to your own fear with kindness instead of frustration, something beautiful happens. That inner voice begins to soften. It doesn't need to shout anymore because it feels heard. And in that space of gentleness, healing begins. You stop being at war with yourself, and you start becoming your own source of comfort, your own safe place. And finally, the most beautiful lesson of all: joy is not something you have to earn. It's not a reward that comes after you've solved all your problems, paid off all your debts, fixed all your relationships, and figured out your entire life. Joy is available to you right now, in this very moment, even in the middle of all the mess. Most of us have been taught that happiness is something you achieve, that it lives somewhere in the future, after you've done enough, after you become enough. But Buddhism says something different. It says joy is a practice, not a destination. It's something you choose every single day, not because your life is perfect, but because you've decided to be present with whatever your life is. Sometimes joy is quiet. It's not always fireworks and celebrations. Sometimes it's just sitting in stillness and feeling your own heartbeat. Sometimes it's watching the sky change colors. Sometimes it's a deep breath after a long day. Sometimes it's just the simple knowing that you are alive, and that is enough. When you start practicing joy in this way, when you stop waiting for perfection and start appreciating what's already here, your whole world begins to change. The worry that once consumed you starts to lose its grip, not because you forced it away, but because you filled that space with something more powerful, with gratitude, with presence, with love. You begin to realize that happiness was never far from you. It was always right here, waiting not to be chased, but to be noticed. And in that simple, gentle noticing, you step out of fear and into freedom. You stop surviving and you start living. You start living, you stop worrying, and you start breathing. And for the first time in maybe a very long time, you feel truly light, truly present, and truly alive. You don't need a perfect life to feel joy. You don't need all the answers to feel peace. You just need to come back to this moment, to treat yourself with kindness, and to trust that you are exactly where you need to be right now, and that is more than enough. That is everything. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, if it reminded you of a truth you already knew but had forgotten, then do yourself a favor and come back to these words whenever life feels heavy, whenever worry tries to pull you under. Remember, you are not. Your pain is temporary, and peace is always just one breath away. If you enjoyed this and you want more reminders like this to help you live with less worry and more peace, then make sure to like this video and subscribe to Buddhism Focus so you never miss another message like this one. Your journey to inner peace matters, and we're here to walk it with you.